Good evening. Can you hear me okay? Hi, Wendy. How are you? Trying to sit on my own phone as well so I could see what was going on, but I managed to mess that up. Hold on. Hi, Judith. How are you? I hope you're well this evening. We'll just give it a minute or two just to see who else pops on. Turn myself down, otherwise I'll have myself in stereo. Hi, Terry. How are you this evening? I'm good. I'm good. I'm really good. Getting there slowly, I think they say. Isn't that right? Lots going on at the moment, so nice and busy. Busy's good. Judith, how are you now? Are you feeling better? I hope you're feeling better. Been really bad at keeping up with the chat and everything just recently. Good. Got a very huffy puffy dog this evening. She went for a very long run earlier and now is puffing away. Hi, Annette. How are you? Good. I'm glad you're getting there. I need to be able to hold this, have this screen up a little bit higher so you don't see my double chins. Okay, I think we'll get started. We've got 10 people on the live this evening. So, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining me this evening. My name is Lesley Hammam, if you've not met me before, and I will be taking you inside some pyramids this evening. Hi, Ronnie, how are you? So, what do I mean by that? So, I lived in Egypt for over 25 years, and I was very lucky to be able to go and explore an awful lot of the pyramids while I was there. So, and I was able to record them while I was out there as well. So, I'll be bringing you sort of like that footage from my YouTube channel this evening. So, hopefully, we won't have too many videos going on. But what I thought I'd do is I'd take us to Venice Wave. Venice Wave is a lovely place. It is there are three pyramids located between Venice Wave and Fayoum. Fayoum being an oasis in the desert. So the journey is about 2 hours southwest of Cairo. So hi, Laurie. Laurie, sorry. How are you this evening? So it's a really nice place to visit, and it's a long old day going out there. In actual fact, I was actually looking at this today. It was 3 years exactly today that I was actually in Venice Wave to see these pyramids. 3 years ago today, the exact date. And then I flew home on the 21st back to the UK, and that's where I've been ever since. So what I thought we'd do, it's kind of a little bit like around sort of like a bit of symmetry there for us, and we know the Egyptians love symmetry back in ancient times. So I thought I would take us through the Fayum pyramids today. So as I said, we'll be starting with we'll be starting with the Pyramid of Meidum to start with. So these, as you can see, these are pictures of the pyramids that you can see. I miss my horseback riding as well, but you never know, in the future there might be some of that going on, so just watch this space. So we're going to start with Meidum. So the area of Medoum consists of a pyramid and several mud brick mustabas. The most famous of these being Mustaba 17. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you some video of that as well shortly, and so you can see the difference. All the pyramids I've been in have been amazing, but I have to say the Medoum pyramid and the Lehun pyramid, which we're going to see as well, are particularly incredible. And I just love to be able to go and see these things because you get to see the progression and the way they change the pyramids over the course of time. Now, these were actually done in the 4th century, the 3rd dynasty, which is a very, very long time ago. So I find that quite fascinating in itself. And 144 meters as well, which again is quite large for such an old structure and the time we're at. And the fact they're still standing as well, I just think is absolutely incredible. So the pyramid is said to be the first straight-sided pyramid built. Unfortunately, it was partially collapsed in ancient times, which in one way is terrible, but another way is amazing for us, as now we can get to see the inside structure of the pyramid. The pyramid is thought to be the only second pyramid built after the pyramid of Djoser in Saqqara, and may have been built for the pharaoh Huni, the last pharaoh of the third dynasty, and continued by the pharaoh Snefru. Okay, so there's not much information about Huni. Now this is the inside. You can see that typical corbelled ceiling, which is like an inverted staircase, and that what that corbelled ceiling does, it actually pushes the pressure of the weight that's on top to the outside of the pyramid, so it stops it from collapsing inwards, which is what you want when you want to have a tomb on the inside, right? And then you've got that lovely staircase or the tunnel going down leading into it, and then you have a little room before. So what we're going to do is we're going to skip ahead now to the actual video of the pyramid itself. Hopefully the sound won't be too loud. I do have sound. Let me just turn it down a little bit. I don't know if you'll be able to hear the sound or not, but here we go. Just let me know if you can or not, and I won't talk for a minute until you've seen the video. So enjoy, guys. You don't hear any sound yet. Okay, can you still hear me though? That's the main thing. As long as you can hear me, that's all that really matters. So you can see we've got this lovely granite either side as we're going down the actual tunnel into the pyramid itself. Okay, good. Very strange. You should be able to hear it, but I'll turn that up anyway. It is very high. So unlike a lot of pyramids, you can stand up, not fully, but like stand up a lot better than you can actually in the Great Pyramid, which is quite funny because this is obviously a lot smaller. But this was like one of their prototypes, one of the first ones to have been built. So Huni ruled for over 24 years, with the end being in 2613 BC. He was the predecessor of King Snefru. But this is still in debate, as he seems to be a very confusing figure in Egyptian history. So as I said, we don't really know much about him at the moment at this time, but you know, you never know what's going to be dug up from one year to the next year, so hopefully we'll get some more information on him sometime soon. Snefru was the first pharaoh of the 4th dynasty, and there is a debate over how many years he ruled. For the time span is either 24 years or 30, or could even be 48 years. Snefru was responsible for building the 2 pyramids, so the Bent Pyramid and the Red Pyramid in Dashur. But first he added to at least tried to add an extension to the pyramid in Meidum. The second extension was done, as I said, during Snefru's time. He tried to turn the original pyramid from the step pyramid to a true pyramid. So when we say step pyramid, we mean like in Saqqara, where you've got that definition of the steps going up, to a true pyramid, which is with the smooth sides. So you can see we're going up some very tight steps here, and if I remember rightly, I managed to get my bag caught on the ladder as well as going up, so I was finding it a little bit chaotic trying to get into this actual pyramid. But and there wasn't much in there when I got to the top, to be totally honest, but it was very interesting. You can see how difficult I'm finding getting up the stairway, and it was because I had my backpack on, literally. It sounds like, oh, trying to get in. But look, I mean, if you think this was done in 2600 BC, I mean, that's such a long time ago, you know? And this was the actual burial chamber itself. So we're kind of at the top of the pyramid now, with that striking corbel ceiling. You can see that very, very distinctly now as we're looking up. The wood that you see is actually original wood from when the pyramid was first built. So that's cedar wood. It's been there for centuries. And the outside, you can see that how he tried to make it a smooth pyramid with those limestone blocks going up. So very, very interesting pyramid, this one. Bit of a closer look. That was the ladder that I had to try and get up. And again, some more wood there. Very interesting pyramid, this, because you go down and then you come straight back up again. So it was a very, very interesting pyramid, this one. Just a little bit. Let's go back to the slideshow. Let's go on a little bit. Okay, so where do we get to? First, the outer, so where did we get to? So I'm reading from my notes, because obviously it's been a while since I've been there. The second extension was done, as I said, during Snefru's time. He tried to turn the original pyramid from a step pyramid into a true pyramid, as we've said. You can see this quite distinctly from this picture here. This was done by filling in the steps with limestone encasing. While this approach is consistent with the design of the other true pyramids, Meidum was affected by construction errors. Firstly, the outer layer was founded on sand and not on rock, like the inner layer. This was too heavy for no support on the bottom, because there was no support on the bottom. Secondly, the inner pyramids had been designed as the final stage. So it was the final stage. The outer surface was polished and the platforms of the steps were not horizontal, so fell off to the outside. This severely compromised the stability and is likely to have caused the collapse of the pyramid in a downpour while still under construction. Some Egyptologists suggest that the pyramid didn't collapse until the New Kingdom, but evidence has now disproved this, as Meidum seems to have never been completed. A signature building during the fourth dynasty was every single pyramid had a valley temple. This is missing from Meidum. The mortuary temple, which was found under the rubble, again appears unfinished. Most likely none of the mastabas in the area were ever used, laying to the evidence of a major collapse and the rebuild of a pyramid for Snefru in a different location, which can be found, as I said, in Dashur, the Bent Pyramid. Okay, so as you can see from this one, you've got the outer pyramid that we saw in the video. And you can see how then they tried to put the true pyramid over the top. And because there was no bedrock where they were actually putting the sides up, as if you like, it just collapsed because it was too heavy. We know that there's millions of tons of stone. And there's the inside. Now you've got from the picture there, you can see the wood, the cedar wood there, which I find is absolutely incredible. You know, that you're talking about 4,000 or 5,000 years old, this wood, and it's still there like it was put in yesterday. It's absolutely incredible. And that's the mortuary temple. So when you go there, it's just literally as it looks there. There's no hieroglyphics, nothing. The two steelers that are standing, they weren't finished. They should have a hieroglyphic writing on, but they don't. It's all very plain and a little bit boring in a way. Not boring as boring, but you get what I mean. So Mustaba 17 then. I don't know if you've ever seen people try to go into this place. It is incredibly. Terry, you thought that is it Terry who said claustrophobic? This one was claustrophobic. Now I'll give you a little bit of backstory. So I went with my an American friend of mine, Lisa, who had been to the Hawara pyramids before. We call them Hawara pyramids, even though they're in different locations between Beniswave and Fayoum, as I've said. And when we started going into Mustaba 17, literally within like very short distance, I was on my hands and knees and crawling in the dirt, literally crawling in the dirt. And this was my first pyramid of the day, you know, my first Mustaba of the day, and I've got a whole long day to go ahead. And I'm covered in dust, absolutely in dust and dirt. It was vile. And I got halfway down. Now, one of my biggest fears, I don't know why I have this. I suppose it's not an irrational fear, but it is a massive fear for me, is I do not like snakes. Okay, I hate snakes. They can be behind in glass. They can be in anything like that. I do not like snakes. Okay. We get halfway down and Lisa goes, "Oh, is this the wrong time to tell you that the last time I came in here, there was a cobra and that was in the tunnel?" And I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "What do you mean? There was a snake in here." So then I'm going all the way to the bottom. Now I understand why, and I didn't realise. I mean, what on earth would a snake be doing in like an abandoned building as such, apart from, you know, at night time getting out of the desert or the heat? Maybe that's why they did. It was only when I got into the actual chamber itself that I realised there was bats. So there's a lot of bats in there. Now I love bats, so I was fine with the bats, but the snakes were going in there possibly for a meal. Yeah, so I really was not happy. I was not a happy bunny for a minute. Luckily, the guy, you know, the temple guardian went in ahead of me, so if there was any shenanigans going on before I got in there, at least he could sort that out before I got in. So what is a mustaba then? So a mustaba is a tomb. So it is literally a tomb. So what they did was they built it, they dug it out, the mustaba out, they put their mud brick in, they put their dividing walls in and what they were going to do in there, and then they would put like a lid on it. Okay, then they would put sand on top of that. So it was a tomb as such. Snakes and bats fun. The bats were fun. The thought of snakes was not so fun. I don't like snakes, and especially not cobras. Also hate millipedes and centipedes. I know, it's all those legs, isn't it? Why have they got so many legs? Who needs that many legs, honestly? And they, of course, they bite as well, and they can be quite nasty, can't they? Is it millipedes or centipedes? One of the two. Anyway, not nice creatures either. So let me show you a video now of Mustaba 17. What you don't get from this video is me on my belly crawling through the mud, through the dirt, because I managed to, you know, strategically have my camera up. But after this tour is finished tonight, if you go to the YouTube channel afterwards, and I will put the link in the chat shortly as well for the YouTube channel, you can actually see a short video of me inside Mustaba 17, sweating, sitting on my bum, going, how on earth am I going to, you know, get from this position to then, you know, on my belly to get through this little hole. And it's such a shame because I lost an awful lot of my videos when I changed my phone over, which is terrible. But I had to go through this hole to get into the main chamber itself on my tummy, and I had to go through like a snake myself. It was just like, oh my, what am I doing? Why do I do these things to myself? It was only when I got out that I realised how incredible it actually was. But so, without further ado, let me take you inside the tomb or the Mustaba 17. So bear with me a second while I get this up and running. You can see how I'm struggling to try and get through this tunnel. It's not easy. How tomb robbers did it is beyond me. It's just incredible how they got in and out of this place. Okay, so that is the Meidum Mustaba 17. As you can see, it is quite a scary place to go into. Let me just read some of your questions. So, do these tunnels signify anything like rebirth, or are they just entryways? Well, there's two ways of looking at it. With the tombs that you have in the Valley of the Kings, it was always like you'd always have the hieroglyphic text on the walls, and that would, those would be the prayers and things to get you into the afterlife. But we don't have any of this in these pyramids at all. Again, they could have possibly had a bit of decoration on them. Some of the decoration from Mustaba 17 is in the Cairo Museum. I'm not quite sure if they've moved it now to the Gem Museum, but that was fully decorated. Again, we're not entirely sure if the pyramids were actually a mausoleum or not. It's really difficult to know because no bodies were actually found within the pyramids. So, and as we know, Meidum was actually we believe that Meidum was actually abandoned anyway. Next question. Wendy, I'm sure I could get you in there. I'm sure if you came with me, I'd get you in there. You know I would. I think the goal was that they never. Yes, that's very true. Yeah, it was the goal that nobody would go out. There would possibly might have been little shafts in there for the car or bar to be able to enter and exit, as we know with the Saqqara pyramids and Dashur pyramids in the Giza plateau. Any idea why these were built on these sites so far away from Giza? Don't forget, Giza was built later. So Giza was a later site. So these were the original first ones. So there has to have been some religious significance to why they chose these particular sites, but then possibly realised that it was a mistake later on due to the fact that they kept collapsing. But don't forget, there was over 118 pyramids within Egypt, so that's also very, very interesting. Now, I had to laugh. I was at a sporting event the other day and got talking to one of our friends there, who ended up being in Egypt in 2002, not long after I got there. I was there 4 years before, and he was going through his pictures on his phone of his trip, and he'd actually been to the pyramid that they said they found just recently, but actually they found it in 2002, so not recently at all. And that's the one that they believe that the upper part of the pyramid had actually been used to build old Cairo. So all you have is the underground chambers of this particular pyramid. And he'd been in there in 2002. I was like, how is that possible? Because that only came out as like 5 years ago that they'd found this pyramid in the first place. So I was really confused. It just goes to show that Egypt does recycle some information sometimes and goes on excavation that have been done before. So really, really interesting to actually see those. And I have asked him if he's got any video. It was 2002, so it's before mobile phones. Of mobile phone videos, but if he does have any video or if he has any more photos, he's promised to dig them out for me so I can show you guys, which will be really interesting, I think. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, Ronnie, anytime. I mean, I love adventure. I do love a good adventure, me. And you give me a hole to go crawling in, to go and have a look at stuff, and I'll be there in a heartbeat. You know that. I love it. Oh my goodness, I've got a puppy who's dreaming at the moment. He might start woofing in his sleep in a minute. Yep, there we go. We're having a bit of a woof going on down here. She went for a run earlier, so she's feeling quite tired now, bless her. Right, let's get you to the part of the slideshow which is next for our next pyramid. So that's Mustaba 17, and you can see just hold on a minute, where have we gone? Press the wrong button. Silly me. Let's go back to that one again. Technology is great until I can't make it work the way I want to. So that's the entrance to Middoom there. So you can see how all the little mud bricks that make up the top of it, and that small little doorway going in. And then this is like the first picture in this line here is like the first chamber that you go down, that very, very tight ladder. And then you've got the sarcophagus at the bottom there within the chamber, which I think is quite incredible. So our next pyramid we're going to see, and this is a very, very interesting one. I actually really enjoyed this one, and I would love to go back and explore a bit more because I don't feel that I had enough time there. I was rushing when I was there, and feel that I could have spent all day there. Well, I say all day, maybe 3 or 4 hours there, just exploring a little bit more. Even though they did have trouble actually putting any lights on when we were there, they couldn't put the lights on, so we had to go down by torchlight. So that was a bit something different. Something different for the weekend, that's for sure. So this is Al Lahun. Al Lahun was built for the Pharaoh Senusret II. The ancient Egyptian name for the site is I'm going to butcher this. No, actually, I probably won't try to say the ancient name, but the meaning of it is mouth or opening of the canal, which is interesting. Senusret II was the fourth pharaoh of the 12th dynasty, so this is a bit later on. He ruled from 1897 to 1878 BC. He took a great interest in the Fayum area and moved the capital from Dashur to Al-Lahun, where his pyramid was built. He had a great expansion plan for irrigation channels, which is interesting, as we know that the ancient Egyptians were very good with waterways. Which he had built to cultivate the area. The Al-Lahun area was the capital for the political activity through the 12th and 13th dynasties. He also established the first known workers' quarters in the nearby town of Kahun. The pyramid is made of mud brick, but the core of the pyramid consists of a network of stone walls that were infilled by mud brick. This approach was probably intended to ensure stability. An unusual feature of the pyramid even though the pyramid's temple is on the east side of the entrance, for the pyramid is on the south side. The entrance for the pyramid is on the south side, so very odd. It was Flanders Petrie who eventually found the entrance when workers were clearing the nobles' tombs on the south side and came across a 50-foot shaft, which we'll see in the video, that led to the tunnel to the burial chamber. They worked backwards to the original entrance. Quite smart, really, that one. The builders utilised a rock outcropping to anchor the pyramid and reduce construction time and cost. The complete pyramid was originally encased in limestone, though an inscription found by Petrie indicates that the casing was removed in the 19th dynasty and for reuse of a different structure. Built by guess who? I'm going to give you a guess. Who do you think stole the limestone casing from the pyramid? Anybody like to take a guess? Come on, I'm going to sit here and wait for somebody to say it now. Let's see if you can guess right. It's my favourite person, or one of them. No guesses? Yes, my favourite, Judith. Who do you think it is? Ramses. Well done, Terry. Which one? Ramses 1, 2, or 3? Which one do you think it might be? 2. Yeah, very good. Yes, it was Ramses 2. Of course it was. What? Who else would it be? Who else would it be? The other unusual feature of this tomb is the labyrinth of passages. There is a fake burial chamber and an outer passageway that takes you around the true burial chamber, which I found absolutely fascinating. So let's go to the video of Lahun, and sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. I'm going to turn that up a little bit. Here we go. Yes, Judith, a lot better than the Great Pyramid or the Dashur pyramids, that's for sure. This is the passageway that goes round the outside of the burial chamber, which I found fascinating. Terry, the only pyramid to have decorations on is the tomb of Unas in the Saqqara area, which has the pyramid text. There's two pyramids with pyramid text there, but the Great Pyramid inside Saqqara, Joseph's pyramid, the Bent Pyramid, the Red Pyramid, these pyramids, there's no hieroglyphic text or imagery. You're welcome. Hi, Mary. That's the 40-foot shaft. That picture there. There you go. So that's El Lahun Pyramid. Really interesting place to go visit, actually, because there's so much to see there. It must be so cool to actually visit these sites. It is. It is really cool. I really enjoyed it. I'm very spoiled, shall we say, that I, managed to see so much in my time in Egypt. I loved all the stuff that I went to see there, and it's the one thing I do miss. I do miss a lot, and one day we'll go back and have a look at some more, I'm sure. So the last pyramid, unfortunately, I don't have it on the slideshow. I'm not quite sure why. I was a little bit unprepared for the one, but I've got one extra pyramid to show you this evening, which is part of the 3 pyramids that we're visiting in the Fayum area. And this is called the Hawara Pyramid. Okay, so even though we call them the Hawara Pyramids as a whole, it's only one of them that is actually in Hawara. So this pyramid was built in the 12th dynasty by Amenemhat II. Unfortunately, there is little left, but the upper structure of the pyramid as the burial chambers are flooded? Oh, don't worry, Mary Lou, you can catch up if you like later on. Because this will go, this will save, so you'll be able to go back and have a look afterwards. So, where did we get to? So, this may be due to the big canal. So, basically, with the Hawara Pyramid, you can't go inside it because it's actually underwater. And there is a big canal that runs by the side of it, and they believe that because of that canal, that's why it's flooded. They have done a diving expedition down into the water, but haven't found anything of significance in there as of yet. But then the water would be very, very, very murky, to be honest, so it wouldn't be a very nice thing to go and have a look or investigate. So yeah, I can understand why you wouldn't really want to go in there. So Amenemhat II was believed to have built Hawara before the Black Pyramid in Dashur. So that's one pyramid I've not been in, which is the Black Pyramid. So if you're looking across to it's the east of the Dashur pyramids, you will see this like black mound in the distance, and that is called the Black Pyramid. It is one that I haven't been in yet, but would like to go and visit one day, hopefully in the near future. So again, this was built in the style of the 12th dynasty, with the limestone core and the mud brick outer layering. In retrospect, after watching Lesley, it's shocking how many places we didn't go to. I know, but don't forget, Laurie, I travelled, lived in Egypt for over 25 years, and I've only done maybe probably about 25% of all the sites that need to be visited in Egypt. So there's a lot to do, and I've still got things on my bucket list. So watch this space, because I'll hopefully go back. The most fascinating part of this place, The most fascinating part of this place is the Hawara Labyrinth, which was made of a huge mortuary temple and a building complex. This was mentioned in the historical writings of Herodotus, and referred to being very like the labyrinth of the Minotaur in Crete. If you've been there, you'll know what I'm talking about. One of the most famous finds here was the Hawara portraits. So if you've ever been to a museum of late, you will find the Roman Greek portraits of the painted on wood, and then they would put that painted wood face onto a mummy, so you'd know what the deceased looked like, or give an impression of what the deceased looked like. And it was the Hawara portraits that were found here in Hawara. So now you can't see the labyrinth as such, because it's like buried under all the sand. It is such a shame that this site has kind of it's not been neglected. I wouldn't say neglected is the right word, but not excavated properly. I think if they do go back and they do decide to excavate, they'll find an awful lot going on here. The video for this isn't very long, because as I said, you can't actually go into the pyramid itself, so it's a little bit disappointing in that respect, but also interesting as it being another pyramid on the pyramid trail. So do have a look and see what you think. Oh, bye, Laurie. So, as I said, not a very long video, that one. It's only a very short video for the Hawara pyramids, but that's because there's not much to see there now anyway, because of the water that's filling the chambers. And I'm sure that if they actually took all the water out, it wouldn't be very good for the pyramid either. So it's a bit of a shame, really, that, nothing much has been done to investigate further. I think they did try and pump it out once, but the water just kept filling back in again, so it wasn't worth it at the time. But who knows what the future holds for the Hawara Pyramid site. So that is it for the pyramids tonight. I hope you've enjoyed coming along with me this evening and investigating the Hawara pyramids. My favourite, I have to say, is I think El Lahoun, actually, because it's so different, such a different thing. And when, we were playing around down there, I say playing around, but walking around down there, and I forgot the first time when we were going around the outside of the tomb, the burial chamber, to record it. So I had to go around again, and then we made lots of noises, like clapping noises from the outside, and they reverberated inside the burial chamber. So whether that was something that they did, whether they were chanting on the outside, they could have said prayers, whatever, to the pharaoh that's inside the tomb. I don't know, maybe he did, maybe he didn't, I don't know. It's very, very interesting though, right? I mean, why would they do that? And they've not done it on any other pyramid since. So I'm not sure. It's a very interesting one, that one. So don't forget, this tour is free this evening, but if you would like to support my channel, please do. You can actually go to buy me a coffee and buy me a coffee or two, which would be absolutely amazing. It just shows your support and also helps me spend a little bit extra time putting these wonderful tours together. And it is a pleasure, because I do love having you all come on each week. I do have 2 tours next week. So one on Wednesday, and then I have the cooking show on the Friday. So don't forget to join us or me for that, because that's going to be great fun. And you never know what kind of shenanigans I'm going to get up to into the kitchen while I'm falling over the cat and the dog, quite possibly. So if you'd like to join me for that, please do. It'd be lovely to see you there. But does anybody have any questions they'd like to ask before I wrap the tour up this evening? If you'd like to ask me anything, please do, and I will try and answer the best I can. Oh, you're welcome, David and Wendy. Thank you so much for coming. I have to come and see you soon. Also, if you'd like to see what tours are coming up in the future, you can go to the Buy Me a Coffee page, go into the shop area, I think it says shop, and you will find all the tours that I've got coming up listed there as well for the next, I think, 4 weeks, so you can plan ahead, or just head to my YouTube channel and subscribe there, and you can literally see what's coming up on there as well, because I have them sort of like listed of what's coming when, so do have a look there too. I do have some videos, and I keep saying this to every week, but I've been so busy I haven't had a chance to put them out there yet. I do have about 3 or 4 videos to go on to my YouTube page as well. The ones from the tour last week for Senimut, the tomb of Senimut, the 2 tombs of Senimut, I will put those up there so you can have a virtual walk around of that. Also, I did do the Ramses II exhibition at Battersea Power Station, so I will be putting that up on there for you. What else? Also, I went to Bristol Museum, so I do have the Bristol Museum to go up on there, and I do have a little video of the Blackburn Museum, which was very small, very tiny, but very cute. So I do believe it's the museum, walk around the museum tour next week, so we're either going to do the Cairo Museum or we might do Turin. I'm not sure. I love both of them, so we'll see. But thank you everybody for coming with me this evening. It's been my absolute pleasure. I do love doing these things, and it does keep me in touch with my grassroots a little bit, because I was in Egypt for a very, very long time, and I do miss the archaeology. I really do. So thank you very much for coming with me this evening. It's been great fun. And I look forward to seeing you next week. So don't forget to subscribe. And if you can, as I said, if you can buy me a coffee, please, it'd been very much appreciated. But for now, I'm going to say goodnight to you all. And I'm going to go and see what's going on with the puppy. But until next week, have a wonderful evening. I don't know if you can see him. Hold on. I don't know how to... No, not that way. That way. You see Bones' legs? No, let's go that way. No, go that way. You see Bones' legs sticking up in the mirror? I don't know what he's doing this evening, but he's obviously had a bit too much to drink, I think. But until next week, thank you very much for coming with me. It's been my absolute pleasure. I've been Lesley, and I've had great fun with you this evening. So until next time, have a wonderful rest of your week. Have a great weekend, and I look forward to seeing you all again very, very soon. Until then, much love.